'cause I'm the weatherman. Oh, my thunderstrike, ride out the storm, I'm the weatherman. Oh, my breaking light, shake up the world, I'm the weatherman.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your Fast Forecast, and we are very pleased tonight to come to you with another Meet the Org episode in our series. And well, once we get started, we'll show you why we are so excited. We'll go around the table first, gentlemen, to introduce yourselves. Then we'll let you introduce the org by name, and then your positions in the org. So, who would like to start?
I'll go ahead. Wraith Squad is the name of the org. I'm 11. We focus on bounty hunting and security. If you guys want to go ahead and knock yourselves out.
Yeah. All right. Sorry about that. I'm Shepard, or LT Gen Shepard. Basically, I'm a team leader for Wraith Squad, and I've been there since I think near the beginning of it. It's been quite an experience. We're mainly bounty hunting and security contracts.
Next, operator error. Okay. Oh, sorry about that, Maestro.
Go on.
One of the team leaders, been around for a bit. That's about it for now.
11, you have someone who's on their way, correct?
I do.
Yep. Yeah, we heard operator, and he's not here quite yet.
Oh yeah, he is out of town, so he is here on voice call.
Understood. We thought we recognized the audio through the Hammerhead's very limited audio systems. Ladies and gentlemen, in case you do not recognize the name of Wraith Squad, perhaps you recognize the name 11th Hour. This gentleman is the one who has been producing the combat training tutorials over on the 11th Hour, his own YouTube channel. If you haven't checked it out, please do. It basically teaches you how to combat fight using actual dogfighting techniques. We'll let him get into the hows and whys of that a little bit as we go, because it's very important in what makes the org so effective. Just as we did with Deep Space Crew, this is an org that is very interesting to us, and we're kind of fans, so that will bleed through a little bit. So take it as you will. We are very upfront in our biases, and we really have a thing for Wraith Squad. So, gentlemen, we covered the main focus of the organization, but how did it form?
Actually, me and Shepard were part of another org. What was it? Half Snap Drunks with Guns or some shit like that.
Drunks with Guns?
Two and a half, 3 years ago. And that group kind of disbanded. But actually, before it did, I was in charge of combat tactics for the org, because they primarily ran cargo, and that just wasn't my thing. After the org disbanded, I want to say disbanded. We wound up leaving the org. I think the leader wasn't around for about 6 months, and new relationships kind of formed, so people kind of started going their own way. And Shepard came with me, and we kind of started Wraith Squad from there. And the focus was always combat, and I knew that I was really interested in the combat that was available for the game, because it kind of reminded me of flight simulators, just the ships fly better than airplanes, So we just focused on combat, and people started to trickle in a little bit at a time. So that's kind of how it started. It was just wanting to focus on the intricacies of combat in the game, appreciation for the game and the ships, and just continue to move forward with meeting like-minded individuals. That was probably the most important part of why we work so well, It's not having people that are good at the game. It's having people that can get along and work as a team, because synergy is very important.
Interesting. So what you're saying is you started out as a civilian pilot and kind
Yep.
of moved over whenever you came to Stanton.
Yep.
That's interesting. Y'all said you do a lot of we'll say contract work. How do you get your name out there and find and vet customers?
Surprisingly enough, we have a lot of different friends that are of different factions. And actually wound up linking up with a buddy who had a pirate org. And you know how pirate orgs are. Everybody kind of knows everybody.
Under,
So we wound up being asked to provide services for a org in particular who I believe their leader was a fan of the channel, the 11's Hangar channel.
yes.
So we wound up providing services for them. And actually, us doing contracts is very recent. So once we kind of saw what our teamwork looked like and as a service, I kind of made it a little bit more formal. We have a formal contract. We made an advertisement, and it's been going well. It is a little difficult sometimes working with different personalities and groups that have their own way of doing things, but it's been going pretty well so far. And we generally stick to providing combat support. Like, we don't do logistics for moving cargo or anything like that, though we have the capacity to. We just like to try to stay in with our focus so that we're always fresh, always frosty, and always ready on a trigger, as opposed to having other things on our mind.
We really can't picture Wraith Squad running cargo. It boggles the mind.
Yeah, I don't. It happens sometimes, but it's probably in a combat ship.
I mean, you'd be surprised. 11 is really into mining. He has all the ships. Like, he loves it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we know he's
Right.
into salvage. We've seen him turn quite a bit into salvage. Well,
Yeah, it's just like the residual effects of what we do, right?
gentlemen, y'all do, as you said, you do contract work. Do your rules of engagement change with who you're contracted with? For instance, if your contract calls for you to take out a passenger liner, does that violate your internal rules of engagement, or are they flexible based on your employer?
If they're paying, we're going.
We have bounty hunters.
So it's based on the contract.
Yep. And really, it's at our discretion. Like, we do talk to the people specifically about what it is that they're doing, and it's at our discretion, because we can always say no.
Check it. We execute it. Without fail.
So why contract work instead of just blazing your own way out there and just ignoring everyone else?
I think because we enjoy what we do, and I think we like to have a little mystique in regards to who we are, which is why we kind of put ourselves out there as being bounty hunters and security. Granted, bounty hunting is our focus. It's just we are available for other things. And as far as going around I mean, I don't know. That's just not really been our thing. There's usually a reason
Well, precisely.
why we do what we do.
Well, we'd like to touch on recruitment a little bit, because every organization wants to grow. What are y'all looking for in a recruit?
Honestly, and I think Shepard and Maestro and Operator can speak to this. It is synergy for one, and being like-minded is two. I said to Shepard a while ago that I'm not concerned with how long it takes Wraith Squad to grow. We need the right people. Because if we have the right people, our effect in combat doesn't require a whole bunch of ships. And we're kind of at that point now. Where if it's 5v7, 5v8, 5v9, we're not outnumbered. And that's
Comes
because of
down
our
to
ability
tactics.
that's because of our ability to work together, our understanding of not just the ships that we're in, but the ships that our opponents are in, and tactics.
We don't really mind if it's a new player or not, as long as 11 said, they're like-minded and they fit well with Raid Squad. It doesn't matter. We can spawn a ship for them. We can practice with them. We can teach them the ropes, and then as long as they're a good fit for us, then they're more than welcome to join us. We don't have a threshold. Oh, you have to have X amount of ship, or you have to have played for X amount of years to join the org. Everybody is welcome as long as, like 11 said, they're like-minded and they're a good fit for us.
So, 11 mentioned synergy. It was mentioned y'all can supply new pilots with ships. Do y'all provide training for your new pilots?
We do.
It's kind of funny to mention it because anyone who goes to 11's hangar sees the training put up, but we have to ask.
Oh no, understandable. But yeah, we do. There is not anything, I'm sure right now, that I know or am aware of that anybody else in Wraith Squad is not aware of in regards to tactics and things like that. Some things take time, because you need to actually see them for it to stick. But I think that's
And
what
there's
makes us
times-
that's what makes us work so well. Go ahead, Al.
I was just going to say that, and there's times where it's overlooked, and then it comes up on mission or when we're working together. It's like, oh yeah, and try this out, and then they try it, and they get that much better as a result of it.
Yep. There's training, there's weapons testing, there's tactics testing, and all of that. Somebody has an idea about a certain loadout, we test it out, see how effective it is. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, we tweak it a bit and see how we can make it work better or abandon it.
Yep.
Okay.
And testing the integrity of ships, even if they're not combat focused.
Yeah.
Well, so you have training. How would someone sign up?
Well, we have links to our Discord around. They could contact me on the channel. They could drop in. They express their interest, and it's very free form. Like, we hang out. Like, it's not like things that we don't say or things that we hold back. We hang out. We fly with them. Ask them what they think. Keep going, and we just kind of go from there. Because I think when you create a relaxed environment for people to be themselves, they tend to be themselves. And if it's not a fit, we talk to them, have a conversation with them, and it is what it is. But I think keeping things open and allowing people to be themselves, that's really what it comes down to at the end of the day. Like, you could be the best pilot and be an asshole, and we're not interested. So
Some of that arrogance seeps in and kind of makes it toxic.
You know what's funny? I don't even think toxic is the word for it, but it's the one we'll go with because it's the one that everybody knows.
Yeah, we've
I don't. Some of the things we've encountered, I don't think toxic actually does certain scenarios justice. But we'll go with that.
We had a really good reporter request to join up, and they were damn good in the field. The problem was they were just so unpleasant that they really couldn't get through an interview without just making someone mad. It's like, you're really good at what you do. It's just no one likes you.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I feel you. Yeah.
We've met our fair share of people like that. We understand that.
It's like,
Look, I'm sure I probably even have said something like that to someone.
it's like
recently.
you are so amazing. You're an
Yep.
amazing pilot, gunner, whatever. It's you. You are incredible. Your attitude sucks so badly. I want to airlock you.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
But the thing about it is that that type of attitude, though it may not affect the group initially, it slowly wears on the team, and it slowly
Yeah.
starts to creep into how the synergy that I was talking about.
mhm.
It affects it, and synergy, like for us, it's truly what it is. We meet the right person, shit just has a tendency to work. And then when we share some information, and our tactics and get them involved in what we're doing, it just makes it that much better. And if you are an arrogant person, or if you're the me person, or if you're the guy that wants to be the hero, and that's what we run into a lot, the guy he just wants to be the fucking guy, that doesn't work here. Like we're a team in its truest form, and this shit does not work with everybody without everybody that's in it. That's how this works. I was just telling my guys the other day, the idea behind Eleven's Hangar, the idea behind Wraith Squad, it's not me. The shit does not work. I am one person. And without all them being here and all we bring to the table together, that's what makes Wraith Squad what it is. That's what makes the YouTube channel what it is. Otherwise, I'd just be some asshole with a bunch of ships.
Why don't you go ahead and tell everyone what your YouTube channel name is and get it out there. We'll link to it, but go ahead.
Cool. So the YouTube channel is called Eleven's Hangar. And the reason why I started, actually, and I picked a name, I will mention that, because I couldn't figure out what to call it. The channel original focus was, I would see oftentimes new pilots. Maybe they have an Aurora, maybe they have an Avenger, maybe they've got a Mustang. And I would see such derogatory and negative comments being made towards these new players in regards to this ship. And as you know, sometimes the ship you have is not really like you didn't know any better. It was what you had. That money you had for that ship is what you had, so that's what you got. And the original focus was to show people that it doesn't matter what ship you have. If you work on your skill set, if you put the time in, you can be effective in anything. And me and I did quite a few videos showing people that, and some of the ships that people just shit on, they do. And we've done amazing things in them. And that primarily was for new players coming into the game that have a starter ship, to see that there's potential. There's potential in every craft that's available. And then that kind of stemmed into the tactics videos and the combat shorts that are done. It's to show people how awesome it is to work together, the potential that their ship can have, and what they can get done in the verse. How many the opportunities that are there. That literally is the heart behind that channel and why I do what I do.
So the reason why we're such fans of yours, 11, is because just watching how you take starter ships and push them to their limits is kind of what made us test our Terrapin as hard as we do, and kind of learned that we could push it beyond a LPOP or a command ship and actually make it into a combat fighter. If you use it properly and you know its limits, because it has no missiles, it has size 2 weapons, but if you use it properly and you know its limits, you can do some damage with it. And it's like that with every ship. If you know what it can do and you're respectful to its limits, you can do things with it that people will not understand.
And that's facts.
Yep.
That is facts, and that is the case. That is the case for damn near any ship that has a gun on it. It's being mindful and knowledgeable of the scenario, having good situational awareness, and knowing your ship.
Well, and you show that it's not just the ship, it's the pilot. It's honing your skills, because you could have an amazingly powerful and agile ship, but if your skills suck, you suck. Versus someone in an Aurora who has put in the time and the flight time to know their ship, they're just going to eat your 890 with a size 1. They're just going to kill you. Over time, they're just going to wear you down.
Yeah.
Especially if they learn where the vulnerabilities on each ship, because all of them have them. If they learn where the vulnerabilities are and know how to hit you, you're going to lose.
Every time.
So, and that's why we're fans.
I want to throw this in there. I had a conversation with a guy, and this might have been a year and a half ago. He was in an Anvil Arrow. I'm pretty sure it was me and I hanging outside, and he wanted to test his loadout. And he said, I've been flying the Arrow for a while, And I was in the Banner Defender. His ship was, it's a lot more maneuverable. And after he got blown up, his response was, I must have used the wrong loadout. And I thought to myself, what is a nice way to convey this information so he doesn't continue down that path? Because the reality is, he never landed a shot. And what happens there is, that means that the loadout had nothing to do with what happened, but he wasn't aware of that. And that's why that was another engagement that kind of pushed me doing tactics videos covering sub-targeting and distortion damage. Because and basic flight, like missile evasion and things like that, because the loadout, that stuff's irrelevant, like it's irrelevant. It really comes down to your ability to use it.
Especially
and
since
I can't emphasize that enough.
Especially since the Arrow's main focus is being agile. He should have been able to dance around you. It would have taken longer, but if he would have targeted your engines with that Arrow, a good pilot can make you run. We've seen it.
Exactly.
We've taken on the Idris mission with an Arrow, and it takes forever, but they can't hit you because you're small, you're light, you're fast, and you're nimble. It's just impossible to keep rounds on you. So, but that's why we're fans. Listeners, we're terribly sorry. We've kind of gotten into the weeds a bit, but as we said, with this one, we always talk about where our biases lay, and with Wraith Squad, we are fans, so we put that up front, so no one thinks that we are unbiased on this one. So, gentlemen, for new recruits and old hands, what is the split on a mission? Say y'all get hired, y'all go out, you run a successful mission. What's the split look like?
Whatever we take is split evenly amongst the people that are in the involved in the combat. So if we have 3 wraiths, it's a 3-way split. 5-way split. Whatever we take in is split evenly amongst everybody in the group. It's always that way.
So there's no commander's cut.
No.
Interesting. Y'all are probably the first law enforcement / security team we've heard that. Pirates seem to follow that structure, but usually law enforcement security follow a commander's cut scheme.
Who would I be commanding if it was just me?
This is also true.
This is why we follow him to the death.
Yep.
Indeed.
Well, what future goals do you have for both Levin's Hangar and Wraith Squad?
For 11's Hangar, I think I'm going to start using some of the information that CIG has put out to kind of be a foundation for some of the things that I say, so they don't come off as opinion pieces. I know that everybody doesn't follow every week, so there's things that they miss. So I think adding a little bit more context from CIG devs in regards to why my channel is the way it is will be a little bit more of a focus. As far as visually what you see, I will be integrating some more virtual reality and augmented reality type visuals to explain combat scenarios. For the org, I mean, I'd say expansion, but it's not something that I focus on. I think the right people show up when they show up. I think we can all say that there are a bunch of ships that we are waiting to hit the sales floor. Some of us have ships that are in our hangar that we are waiting to go live in the game. So I think that probably has a lot
Polaris.
of importance. You know,
Polaris.
Polaris, Idris. You know,
Polaris.
so yeah.
Well, okay.
Did I cover all the bases?
You did. Well, so this is the part where y'all get to speak to our audience. Every organization have both supporters and detractors, even yours. If you could speak to your supporters directly, what would you say?
I would say thank you for the continued support. I'd say thank you for answering the questions when I ask them. Thanks for asking the questions when you feel they need answering. And stay frosty.
Well, and again, even you have detractors. What would you say to them?
I'll be honest with you. I'm a real specific person, so I would actually need to know what their gripe was. But if it was just maybe we blew them up or some shit like that, it is what it is.
We'll see you
The
in
game, the what is available in the verse, I believe it is at least a minimum of 80% combat ships. So maybe check out the channel. You can close your eyes and just listen, so that way you don't or you could close your ears and just watch. So I don't know what it is that maybe gets them tilted, but the information that I put in there is from a real place. It's not fantasy. It's not theoretical. It is foundational information that will work in the verse, regardless of what changes come to the verse. There's some foundational stuff in there that even if you don't particularly care for me or the channel, it is beneficial.
Well said. Well, gentlemen, we appreciate you bringing us on board your hammerhead in the middle of nowhere. It's been a deep honor speaking to you. And 11, as you turn out your videos, let us know. We will broadcast them with our newspapers. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been your Fast Forecast coming to you tonight from aboard the Wraith Squad's hammerhead in the middle of the black. And from all of us here at Fast Forecast, we wish you all a very good night.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, 'cause I'm a weatherman. By thunder strike, right out.